What you're about to experience are my opinions and truths. I'm suggesting these possibilities for you to consider, enabling you to come up with your own conclusions. All right, ladies and gentlemen, code breakers around the world, another episode of Scripted Reality. My name is Logan. I'm going to be your tour guide for this Scripted Reality number 33. I know this is going to get a lot of views just because of the number 33. Got a lot going on in this image. I'm going to explain how all this fits in, why the color is violet or purple. To the left, we have a hand holding a purple liquid, pouring it into a Dixie cup. And then to the right of that, we have some syringes with a powdered substance there. What is that all about? Well, maybe this has to do with these organizations. Let's kind of address the white elephant. Yeah, I know. It must be those sneaky Jesuits or Masons, man. That's what's operating this entire world. Are these organizations, and they got everybody in on the conspiracy to get this scripted exactly like this. And this is beyond just what I'm going to show you. It's what everybody else in the decoding world is showing you. Millions upon millions of combinations, but man is pulling this off, pulling the strings and orchestrating it. And it's got to be those Jesuits or Masons, because it is the 33rd scripted reality. So maybe you think I'm a Jesuit or Mason. That's my dry humor. But that's what some people think. They think man's running the world. It's ridiculous. Anyway, let's move forward. Put on a pair of headphones. Block out the outside world. This is what we're going to do here. This is what we're going to use for this presentation. We're going to go beyond just basic decoding of putting words into a few basic ciphers. We're going to get into some very complex methodologies, and we're going to simplify it. I'm going to show you how easy it is just connecting the dots. So here at Decode Your Reality, we're a fan of astrology, true sidereal. We're going to be bringing that into play. And it wouldn't be complete without theology, because theology is astrotheology. And it wouldn't be complete with nature. So we're going to be talking about the planetary positions. We're also going to be bringing in the 52 cards of the cosmic playing cards, the cards of illumination, as I've often referred to them. And these turn into the Mighty Tarot, the 78 cards, 77/78 cards of the tarot deck. I'm specifically using the Rider-Waite tarot deck, although I've created a few cards for this presentation specifically. And then we're also going to bring in, besides Chaldean numerology and some English, I'm going to bring in a foreign language, the Mighty Greek language, where the New Testament was written in from. And we get the word Satan, which is interesting because you notice that it's a 52 in Greek. And we just match that up with the next layer, which is alchemy, the periodic table. We're made up of these elements, some of them. They're essential for our well-being. Tellurium having 52 protons. And it's fascinating because in the book of Job, which we're going to be showing, the very first time Satan comes on the scene in the Hebrew Bible, well, he's roaming the earth, you see. So tellurium comes from the Latin word tellus, which means earth, which is why the periodic table, the Royal Society of Chemistry, has the earth there. And then we're also going to be bringing in some math. We're going to bring in the string of pi to show you how the code, all of this, writes the final product that we call it's this or it's that, or it's them doing this, or it's me doing that. It's predestined. We live in a scripted reality. So let's start with some mathematics in the string of pi. 3.144 pi, made famous by the great Jane 108. And I'm going to go 52 digits into that string of pi. Why 52? Because Satan is 52, and the 52nd element, tellurium, is 52. And pi is Earth because pi represents the perfect circle, which is Earth. So we go 52 digits to match that 52, to match that 52, and then we add up all the digits and we get 211. And that's a prime number, the 47th prime number. But when we go to this layer of chemistry where you can spell words out, you can spell words out with the periodic table, and it's absolutely fascinating. Another layer of the methodology that we do here at Decode Your Reality, the word prisoner you can spell out. And when you add up all the protons, you get 211. You know, there's a police code, the California Police Code, which means robbery in progress. But the 211, prisoner, this actually fits the narration of what the Bible says, that Satan is in a prison, which is Earth. And maybe you've heard me say, be the best little devil you can be. That means your ego and you can't help it. We all have a little bit of a devil inside of us. That's it. It's your ego. It's what your desires are. That's it. That's what I mean by that. And I believe that we're in prison. We have a life sentence. Can't get out until you die. That's called a life sentence. Don't know what happens after that. So this is just the simplicity of it for this scripted reality 33 to get this thing started. But let's now get into what we're going to be talking about and the highlight for this scripted reality 33. It was the Jonestown massacre in South America on November 18th, 1978. 918 people died. 909 at Jonestown itself, and then there were other people that got shot at the airport. Why 918? Well, you see, ladies and gentlemen, when you look at the Gregorian calendar, it's a calendar based on January being the first month. However, that does not follow the true solar perspective, because the springtime in the Tropic of Cancer, where this event happened, is in the month of March. The spring equinox normally on the 19th, 20th, or 21st. That's the official month number 1. So when you use the solar perspective, that means that November is not the 11th month, it's the 9th month. And since it's the 9th month and it's the 18th day, does that not match the total people dead for this massacre? How would you explain this? How does man or woman orchestrate this? Unless it's organic. This is an organic event that happened, and all these people that you see here dead were supposed to die on this day. Didn't have a choice in the matter. Just like we don't have a choice. I know that's going to go against so many people. But as we continue to pump out this content, over 800 videos now, that's the final answer, that we live in a scripted reality. So let's get into the first topic now. Graveyard. And I'm going to go to the incident, the Jonestown massacre on November 18th. I'm going to go to the card charts. All of these cards are embedded into the 52 weeks of the year. Remember, Earth is 52. These are tied to Satan. Of course, 52 weeks. Well, November 18th, as you can see, I have highlighted there, is the 2 of clubs. Card number 15. The word Gaia in Greek equals 15, which means Earth. The Devil card is the 15th card in the major arcana. Well, we also have the man who orchestrated it all, James Warren Jones. And he died at the age of 47. 47 is the 15th prime number, and the 2 of clubs is the 15th card, which does represent November 18th. Now, I want to be clear. Here are all the cards numbered. You can get those free, this free on cosmicsugar.org. There it is. It's been like this since I've brought these out. So I didn't change this to get this way. This is the way they automatically are. Remember, 47 is tied to that 211. 211 is the 47th prime number. You see how all this connects? And it starts to tell the story. That's what it does. So this man dies at 47, orchestrates the massacre. Maybe he was a Mason or a Jesuit. Yeah, come on, folks. They're all in on the conspiracy, don't you know? 2 of clubs. 2 is duality. The club suit is the mind. The mind suit. So let's go to the master life spread. This is ground zero. This is where your birth card's going to be. Once you determine where your birth card is, you then go to the master life spread and you locate your card. This is a real image. Look at all these people dead from the Kool-Aid, man. Some of them got injected. Crazy scene. But there's that card representing November 18th. It sits in the Saturn-Uranus line. Saturn has a lot to do with this. This is where you're going to get Satan from, which is time. Well, I'm going to go right to the Phoenix card. Card number 13. All of you have a Phoenix card. It's your 13th card. You count your card as card number 1. You go left to right, top to bottom. And when you do that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. The Phoenix is the energy explosion. It's the orgasm. The Phoenix rises. Well, 909 people died in the camp. All of them that drank or got injected by the cyanide-laced Kool-Aid. The Phoenix card, and that card is card number 52. So now we have an orchestration done by Satan himself. And we have it connected to tellurium, which is earth. Now, where would it be that these people had a choice? They didn't. It was their destiny. You should be grateful that you don't have this kind of destiny. Being stuck in a cult. Some of them being forced to do this. So let's get into the next topic, good and evil. Because, see, folks, I don't want to just be doom and gloom. I've been asked, oh, why don't you do a decode on something nice? I have done stuff that's love and nice, and nobody watches it. It's just really a fascinating psychological phenomenon, if you ask me. But the good and evil that run this world is organic. Man and woman are not in control of this reality. Final answer. If you're a code breaker, I would ask you this question. Because I know that the majority of you know that there's an organic code playing out. Well, I say it's all organic. So if you don't think it's all organic, if you think man or woman's doing some kind of funny business with a big conspiracy, where do you draw the line to determine the code is no longer organic? Where's your line that's drawn? I know a lot of people say, well, when it's evil. Well, you better go check how this ecosystem works then, because that would completely smash your theory. I would just leave that question here for all of you. You can think about that. But because I don't just want to show you the doom and gloom, because a lot of you think the evil is not organic. Okay, well, let's show you some good stuff. Because just a month and a half, 2 months away, 2 months prior to the Jonestown incident, there was the Camp David Accords on September 17th. Jimmy Carter was the president. You had the Egypt president and the Israeli prime minister, and they had the peace accords. And this is the zodiac wheel to represent September 17th. And what's fascinating about all of this kind of stuff is they're so close. They're so close in months, but they vary greatly in their expressions. Because the peace accords, the Virgo sun here, it was all about focused on leadership and practical peace, which is what they achieved. Over here, well, the sun was in Libra, the Alpha and Omega, and the focus was on twisted control and forcing harmony through death. And we're going to get into all that. Same exact system, different outcomes. It's all organic, ladies and gentlemen. This is organically created, and we are just living out a movie script, a screenplay. So again, be grateful that you didn't have to go partake in that. I'm going to break this down at the very end, comparing them side by side. So there'll be no doubt that the duality that we live in is organically scripted. All of it. The entire thing. So here's the Camp David Accords. You can read about this if you know your history. If you don't, if you're interested, you can go read about it. Nobel Peace Prize got given out. And I know this is politics, folks, but this was a win. This would be considered something good. Okay? Something good. So, let's get into the next topic. Jonestown, the People's Temple. Let me give you a historicity of this. Here's the man who was born to be the leader of this church. He founded the People's Temple in 1955 through 1978, 23 years. Killed by suicide or gunshot to the head. I'm going to show you why that is through his astrological chart, and here it is. Now, what's interesting about Jim Jones, you can see it in his face that he was a Taurus sun. There's his sun right there in Taurus. He's a big, you can tell, he's a Taurus, man. He looks like a bull. This is the value of, and the predestination of this man. And his Chiron, which is the wound, is in Aries for him. Here's his birthday. I don't have his birth time. It doesn't matter because the celestials will remain the same. May 13th, 1931. There's Chiron at the very end of Aries. Why I have the gun here is because that is how he died. He died by a gunshot to the head. And Aries, in your astrological chart, is your head. It goes from the head and it wraps all the way around to Pisces, where your 2 feet are. The 2 fish represent your 2 feet. And you can see that this man was destined to be a preacher. If you read about his historicity, it'll tell you that he was a voracious reader and he was at an early age involved in the church. And look at what he's got stacked in Pisces. Pisces means the church. It's the mystic. He had Venus, the love of the church, Uranus to create the revolution, his Rahu here, his ultimate desire, and his moon, the way he felt about this world. He was probably psychic. If you got your moon in Pisces, chances are you might be psychic. You may feel like you're an empath. You take on the emotions of other people. This man was destined to be a preacher. Didn't have a choice in the matter. Organic. The astrological chart says it very clearly. And there's so many other layers here. But this one is a dead giveaway. Got shot in the head. Chiron in the first house. So there it is. Aries, the head, the skull, his Chiron was right there. This is how it wraps around your body. Destined to kill himself or be shot in the head. One or the other. Don't know, I wasn't there. And he was in charge of a cult. His Chiron card in the cards is the 3 of clubs, which is card number 16, which ties to the word cult. The 3 of clubs in the tarot is this. This one. Whoops. This card. 3 of wands. 25. This is his Chiron card. Jim Jones right here. Here's his card. His Chiron card right there. 3 of clubs. Sitting right in the Kronos line. Okay? No doubt about it, he was supposed to be involved in creating this cult. If you want to learn about how to do all this, by the way, it's out on the Spotlight course. If you want to learn how about your cards, your astrology, all of this, it's on the Spotlight. I'll leave this in the description of the video so you can access it. So he creates this People's Temple, 1955, and it ends in 1978 in Guyana, South America. Mass suicide. It was a revolutionary suicide. And it's fascinating because his Uranus, which is the planet of revolution, is in Pisces, which is why he was a pastor. He was destined to lead people to their deaths. It was his destiny. Didn't have a choice. Didn't have a choice. So this is where it gets super clear on Jim Jones. 1931, May 13th is when he was born, and now we add in Chinese astrology, another layer of the code. Well, in 1931, it was the year of the goat. And in 1955, when he started this church, it was also the year of the goat. And wouldn't you know, ladies and gentlemen, that the devil card is a goat. This card is attributed by most people regurgitating that it is Capricorn, and it is partly that, yes. But this is a Taurus card. I laid all these out, shown this many times before. You put the Fool in the center of the astrological chart. You go to the Magician. It goes to Aries. I'm going from top to bottom here. I'm going this way. It doesn't matter which way you go. Aries is card number 1. That's the Magician. Card number 2, the High Priestess. Card number 3, the Empress. You go all the way around, and when you get to 12, you got to go back into the middle. So Death goes in the middle. And then out here is 14, which is Temperance. And the 15th card is the Devil card, which sits in the sign of Taurus. Taurus has horns. Covered this in my Astro Tarot Decoded. Taurus has horns. And the goat. See the goat? The goat is the 8th sign in astrology, in Chinese astrology. That's going to line up with Scorpio. So it's multifaceted, this code. Scorpio being ruled by Pluto and Mars, you're going to see a lot of that energy as well. But 1931 is the goat. He's a goat. 1955, he opens up the People's Temple. That's the goat, and there's the goat, the devil. And ladies and gentlemen, you go back to his astrological chart, and his sun is in Taurus. His sun is in Taurus. No accident there. So here's the People's Temple. 909 people died, 918 including the men that were shot at the airport. Cyanide and tranquilizers. They put Valium together with cyanide. And it says some of these people were forcibly injected. Imagine that, being in that kind of an environment, being led by this guy who, was destined to do that. A revolutionary suicide. Go listen to, I would encourage you, and I'll leave the link in the description. You can listen to the 44 minutes of while they were starting to drink the Kool-Aid and all that kind of stuff. You can listen to them all talk. It's crazy. Here it is right here. The death tape, they call it. And it's so interesting because it's just the code itself. Like Satan in Hebrew from Job 1 verses 6 is 44. And this is 44 minutes long? Come on, man. If you think man's coding this, they would have to actually purposely sit down and edit this before they release it on Wikipedia to get it this way. That's absurd. Look at all these people dead. Destiny, man. Look at them all spread out. This is where it all happened, under the roof of that right there. All of them, the Jonestown. Look at all of these dead bodies. Over 200 kids. Should be grateful that your kids wasn't part of this, right? If you have children. So Jonestown is where they went to from I think they went San Francisco, and then they went there, and they're all about communism. Big fans of the Soviet Union. All right, let's get into the next topic now, 666. And I had this card created because this is Jim Jones' birth card. He was born on May 13th. That's the 6 of diamonds. Just want to be clear. Jim Jones being born on May 13th. Here it is. May 13th, 6 of diamonds. The 6 of diamonds turns into the 6 of pentacles, which is right here. And I had it redrawn up because it's him offering the Kool-Aid to people. 6 of Pentacles. Why do I have it attached to 666? Could it be that Jim Jones was the number of the beast? Because it does say this is a number of a man. Well, I'm going to show you the eerie connections that will blow your mind. Are you ready? I mean, absolutely fire connections. Here's the first one. Jim Jones' life path from double digits, the Gregorian life path that he has, 68. There's the mighty Chaldean, 68. Coincidence? When you go back to his astrological chart, again, he's a Taurus sun. Taurus has 2 horns, just like the devil. The event, the incident, happened on November 18th, which is the 2 of clubs. All the 2s sit in the second house of Taurus. It's very simple. 2s, Taurus. Aces, Aries, the first house. If you're a 3, Gemini. If you're a 4, Cancer. If you're a 5, Leo, and so on and so forth. So as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, if man's orchestrating this, Jim Jones would have to be in on it, and a whole bunch of other people. And they would have to orchestrated this at the very time of birth to get it this way. To choose this day, November 18th. The devil. The number of a man. Remember, 1931, the goat. This is card number 15. This is card number 15. We just simply connect the dots. The goat. The goat. No choice. Scripted reality. So because this is the number of the beast, let's bring in the amazing Iron Maiden off of their 1982 album, self-titled The Number of the Beast, written by Stephen Harris. Well, here we go. Here's where Satan comes in. Because this album was released on March 22nd, 1982. Here's the numerology of it. When you add it up, it's 126. You go right to the periodic table, and there is tellurium. Its most abundant isotope is 126. Satan. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that November 18th was the 322nd day of the year. This was released on 3/22 or 2/23. Coincidence? Well, somebody knows something here. But, of course, the ideas that we're getting, you think I'm in control of creating this? No. I'm channeling all this information. I'm not in control of doing this. I'm channeling this information. I was supposed to show you all these connections. So now you can see how Satan is tied to Earth, Gaia, and why this is so important. And now when you add the card system in, again, another layer that man would have to orchestrate to get it out this perfectly. the Phoenix card for the Two of Clubs for this incident. So this is where you get Satan attached to earth. Now we bring in theology. The very first time Satan comes on the scene is Job chapter 1, verses 6. Keep in mind, Job is the 18th book of the Bible, and this happened on November 18th. So another thing they would have to get orchestrated. Job chapter 1, verses 7 is the very first time Satan talks to God as he asks, "Where are you? Where'd you come from?" And Satan says, "Going to and fro in the earth." Going to and fro in the earth. See how this is connected? Earth. So now we have the number of the beast being tied to earth. And of course, it's a number of a man. I'm going to show you how Jim Jones is connected to that. But now all we're going to do is, see, this single was released on the 26th of April. The album was released on the 22nd of March. So what's 26 plus 22? 48. You go right back to chemistry and 48 is titanium. See, the album got released on the 22nd. There's the protons for titanium. Titanium is tied to earth. The name comes from the Titans. That's what we all are. We are the offspring of the Titans. When I say be the best little devil you could be, you're a Titan. The sons and daughters of earth. See how this is connected? Tellurium is earth. Titans are from the earth. And Iron Maiden's amazing album and song completely ties this all together. So where does Jim Jones come into all of this? Well, you're about to find out. But let's bring some English into this. Number of the beast is 174. And when you add up tellurium and titanium, these two isotopes, it's called molar mass in science. Get out your calculators. Don't just take my word for it. 126 plus 48 is 174. And you see, these numbers are the left-hand path in numerology. This is the path of sinning. This is the right-hand path. This is the left-hand path. Good, evil, organic. 174 tied to the number of the beast. You can see that beast is 47. Jim Jones died at 47. And then what's the element that has that 174? Ytterbium. Ytterbium has 70 protons, which connects to the 70th tarot card, which is Jim Jones' birth card. Yeah. It's his birth card, folks. So number of the beast, 174. 174 is found from adding up titanium and tellurium, which connect to Satan and the Titans of earth. And Iron Maiden's number of the beast. And 174 is Ytterbium. And Ytterbium ties to the the 6 of Pentacles, which comes from the 6 of Diamonds, which is Jim Jones' birth card of May 13th. And you see, this incident happened on November 18th, the revolutionary suicide. And when you add this day's card, it's the 15th card in the deck, to Jim Jones' 6 of Diamonds. Here's the 6 of Diamonds right here, card 32. When you add those two together, you're going to get 47. So, where is man orchestrating this? Where you think this guy had all this occult knowledge? He was a damn preacher. He was probably completely against the tarot and the cards and astrology. I would bet my life on it that he was against it. Let's get into the next topic. This is the chapter and verse of Revelation. If you weren't convinced that Jim Jones is the number of the beast, well, Revelation 13 verses 18. Look at when he was born and look at when he died. Born on the 13th, died on the 18th. On top of that, ladies and gentlemen, here it is from Revelation 13, verses 18. Here it is in the original Greek, 666. 666. There it is. What is the numerology of that? Well, it's 199 from the modern Greek of what it was written in. So I decided to take a look at Jim Jones' birthday using the amazing timeanddate.com. And I subtracted 666 days from his birthday. Like he was born to be a beast. And it landed on this day. I know some of you are going to do this. Oh, am I the beast? July 17th, 1929, 666 days prior to his birthday. And wouldn't you know it, that July 17th in leap years is 190 freaking 9, which matches the numerology of 666 in Greek? Yeah. And he was born on the 13th and died on the 18th, and the number of the beast in Revelation is tied to chapter 13, verses 18. Come on, man. How much more evidence do we need to put out here to show you we live in a scripted reality? This man did not have a choice. Neither did any of the 918 people that died. Neither do you and I. Let's keep going and show you some more. Revelation 13, verses 18 in Chaldean numerology, 70. The 70th card in the tarot is Jim Jones' birth card. Feeding the Kool-Aid to these people, the information. This is also the card of Nostradamus. So it's a yin-yang card. It's not just all evil, it's good and evil. That's why in Isaiah 45 verses 7, it says, I make peace and create evil. Whatever that is. Well, it's embedded in the code. And if you're still not convinced, let me go and show you the address of the very first location in New Jersey of where his church was located. Here it is, 1502 North New Jersey. And those numbers, minus the 0, in the English matches, just like that, magic. Through the English, the number of the beast, Revelation 13, verses 18, 152, and there's the 152. Yeah, and they call him the devil in the Old North side. This is from historical Indianapolis. It was in Indianapolis, it's New Jersey Street. So where do you draw the line, ladies and gentlemen? It's all organic code, man. All of these connections. Well, some people, now it must be those Jesuits. Yeah, they're controlling every single person, all these nightmare events, along with the good stuff, the peace accords. I'm going to show you how that works. Yeah, sure. But it must be those sneaky Jesuits or Masons, yeah. No, these organizations are also being used. They are not in control of their lives. They have a job to do. They have a responsibility. There's no sneakiness about it. Let's get into the next topic, 666 horses. It's get very interesting, this one. So I decided to connect the dots, like Revelation 13 verses 18, talking about the number of the beast, which is the number of a man. What about the year 1318? Now we're going to get into Chinese. Chinese astrology, the year 1318, the wood horse. It's a horse tied to Libra, the 7th sign. And when you do the calculations to figure out what playing card it is, you can do this for any year. You can do it for your birth year. It's the 5 of clubs. Card number 18. Remember that November 18th is the day that the Jonestown massacre happened. And it says the number of the beast in Revelation 13 says it's the number of a man. Yeah, well, the first man in theology from that book is Adam, and his numerology equals 18. Coincidence? 18, 18th card. Again, want to be very transparent. There's the 5 of clubs, 18th card. And then, of course, the tarot. It's the 5 of wands. This is fighting. This is the card of religion. This is the 27th card in the deck. The word religion equals 27. That's what religion does. It's all a work of the devil. So you can figure this out. This formula on how to do this. Like, how did I get this card? Well, I did this in my presentation on the LA ice riots. And I showed you what card is through 2025. The very first step you do is you take the year in question, you divide it by the total amount of cards in a deck, 52. You get your outcome. Then you just take the 38, multiply it by a total amount of 52 cards, you get your outcome. And then the final third step, you just take the year in question, subtract that total, and you get your card, 49. 10 of spades for 2025, 5 of clubs for the year 1318. The first man, the number of the beast is the number of a man. We are descendants of Adam through that story. I'm not saying it's true, by the way. So, what is the tarot card for the year 1318? Straight from the tarot. Well, it's the 70th card in the tarot deck. Wait a minute, you're telling me that the tarot card assigned to the year 1318, which matches the chapter and verse of Revelation 13 verses 18, which is talking about the beast, is the 6 of Pentacles? Yeah. How do you get that formula? Just by doing it the same way. 1318 is the year in question. Divide it by a total amount of tarot cards. There are 78. Most popular way. 16.89. Second step, just multiply the 16 by 78 total amount of tarot cards. You're going to get 1248. And then the third step, you subtract that 1248 from the year in question, 1318, and you get the number 70. That's right. So the tarot card straight up is Jim Jones' birth card. This is, how many layers have we shown you of him being the beast? Him being the beast. Him being the beast. His birthday and his death day being tied to the number of the beast. Well, does this mean that this is the only guy in the world that it was the beast? No, there's tons of them. But it must be those sneaky Jesuits or Masons, man. They're orchestrating it all. No, they're not. They're being used. There's the original card in the tarot. I just had it created with the juice because that's what he gave people. Put his face on there. Some of these people were willingly ready to take it. And wouldn't you know it, 1978 was also in Chinese the year of the horse. It was an earth horse. Remember that Jim Jones was born Taurus, which is an earth sign. This is the card associated with 1978. Remember, it's in the sign of Libra. Why Libra? Because the horse in Chinese is sign number 7 and Libra is sign number 7. You just synchronize them. So we have an earth horse for 1978. Originally, we have the wood horse for 1318. And what about this year coming up? Less than 6 months away on the Gregorian calendar, 2026 is the year of the fire horse. Fire. Fire horse. And what card is 2026? The Jack of Spades. Card number 50. Card number 62 is what it turns into. This is tied to Emmanuel and Jesus. See, the horse is white on this card. Why 2026 and it being tied to the number of the beast? Because of the number of the beast, folks, being tied to man, but it's also tied to the yin-yang principle of our reality. It's chaos and order. Could there be a revolution next year, 2026? Fire raining down from heaven. Burning. Well, we're going to find out. But there's no coincidence that 2026 is a horse. 1978 was a horse, and then 13, 18 tied to the number of the beast is a horse. Yeah, and this is the value of Chinese astrology. Fire horse 22. Remember, this 2026 is 226, and 226, by the way, on the periodic table is Ra, right there. And Ra is tied to the sun through the Egyptian mythologies. Sun is equated to fire. The 226th word of the book of Matthew, Christ. Go watch my Christian Code of Ra. There's a revolution coming. This is going to be the return of Christ. It's already happening. It's not going to be some special person. It's happening through all of us. Because we live in the beast system, folks, of chaos and order. That's why Jesus says in Revelation 3 verses 15, I wish you were hot or cold. I wish you'd pick one. You're either with me or against me, but you got to pick. To stay in the beast system. That's what we're in. So when we go to the astro-alchemical cosmic codes, taking the precision of true sidereal, adding it into the amazing human design system, well, it gives us some shining moments here, because this is the astrological chart of the 18th of November. And here in the sign of the horse is sign number 7, which is Libra. You have the sun, Helios, and Uranus, revolution. Across the way, you had Chiron back in Aries. Remember that Jim Jones had Chiron in his astrological chart, and he died by gunshot to the head. Aries means the head. Aries is a cross from Libra, the Omega. I am the Alpha and Omega. Helios and Uranus. This is a team effort here, but the horse is right there. Revolution. See, Jim Jones wanted a revolutionary suicide. Yeah, well, that's Uranus. Uranus means revolution. He got one. All those people. It's a team effort, all this, but the astrological chart completely screams revolution here. So what does the number of the beast look like in the astrological system? I'm going to base it on tropical. This is tropical astrology, is the 12 signs in the middle. In the middle here is tropical astrology, the 12 signs, or the 12 houses, I should say. Well, all you have to do is take 666 and divide it by 12. And you get 55.5, and then second step, you take the 55, you multiply it by 12, you get 660, and then the third step, you just subtract that 660 minus the 666, and you get 6. And so, what is the number of the beast in tropical astrology? The 6th sign of Virgo. Virgo is tied to the snake in Chinese. And what was located in the astrological chart of this massacre? Venus, Aphrodite, Hades, and Rahu. And just to remind you that Jim Jones's birth card, May 13th, is the 6 of diamonds. It has a big fat 6 on it. And all of these 6s, they occupy the 6th zodiac sign of Virgo. So you have Venus, Hades, and Rahu. What does that look like to tell the story of how this scripted reality 33 and the Jonestown massacre happened? And it's a team effort. And it's not just this, but because the number of the beast is tied to Virgo, Virgo being the largest constellation out of all of them, the Virgin, being ruled by Mercury. Well, first and foremost, Rahu is the obsession. Rahu is your desires. Rahu is your illusion. Rahu and Virgo, the obsession through the illusion of this utopia that Jim Jones was promising his followers. He wanted to get away from everybody, and that's why they moved down to South America. He wanted to build his utopia. Virgo is the last or I should say the sign of the Virgin, which is the last day of creation. In theology, the last day of creation is day number 6. It stops at Virgo. That's why the beast is tied to Virgo, because it births things into play. Virgo is an earth sign. Remember what Satan is tied to: earth, tellurium. Then you add in Venus here. And now you're talking, now this is the shadow side of these, right? Venus twists this love into, and the loyalty test, because ladies and gentlemen, when you read about the story, it says that Jim Jones had these practice runs of suicide where he would line them all up and he would make them drink the Kool-Aid, and there was no poison in it, to see who was loyal. This is love. His loyal and faithful, loving party, the People's Church. And then finally, the big takeaway, Hades was there. Hades, on the shadow side here, delivered the death ritual. And of course, Jim Jones says, we have no choice. No turning back. And the serpent, snake, is Chinese right here. These three, ladies and gentlemen, sitting in the sign of Virgo during this massacre, yeah. You can see how all these play out. Remember, who rules Virgo? Mercury. Who has a big play and tie into the serpent. And where was Mercury sitting during this massacre? In the sign of Ophiuchus, which is the serpent bearer. Mercury is the way you think. This is spiritual alchemization, both good and bad. And it just so happens that Jonestown, which is what they called it, is exactly a match to the word serpent. In Hebrew, it's called Nahas. The serpent in the garden, tied to the way you think. Mercury, the way you think. There it is in gate number 43. In the cosmic code, in the human design, gate number 43, there it is in Mercury. The precision of adding in true sidereal, getting away from tropical. It's true sidereal to get the astrological placements. So scripted. All right, let's get into the next topic now. 23 years, because that's how long the People's Church existed. 1955 to 1978. Jim Jones, the leader, passed away at 47. 23 years, folks. What's sitting in gate number 47? Hades. Hades is sitting in gate number 47. The 47th card is the 8 of Spades, which means trapped and limited. I know this well because it's my birth card. It sits in the alchemical element of silver. Silver. Remember, he was 47. He was 47. The 47th element is silver. What does this mean? Taking yourself off the silver screen. Silver means the silver screen. We're in a Hollywood movie. You ever heard of that? The silver screen. You're on the silver screen. Yeah, you're trapped on the silver screen and you're in a prison. It's called your body and you can't get out until you die. You have a life sentence like we all do. Life sentence. Well, they decided to take themselves out early, or it decided to take 900 people out plus early. See, gate 47 in the human design. So adding on this layer that the Jesuits and Masons would have to get right as well, adding this on, another layer they'd have to get right. It's the gate of realization. It sits in the third eye position. So they literally had Pluto in the third eye position, the third eye gate. And here's the breakdown of it. It's called the gate of realization. And it's to find meaning in suffering and chaos and mental struggle. Think about what this is showing you. Gate 47, the gate of realization. You got to find meaning in the chaos of this world. 47th card is the 8 of spades, which is my card. You have to find meaning in the struggle and the chaos of your life. Right there, the connection of it. And the Hades was there. So what happened? Well, instead of the individuality of this, because if you got gate 47 activated, well, you got to find meaning in your life. Instead of finding your individualization here for these people, it became a mass mental oppression. And the darker side of gate 47 kicked in because Hades was there and it meant death. Hades is Thanos, Thanatos. In Greek, death means Thanatos. That's where you get Thanos from if you're a fan of the Avengers. Hades wants your body, man. It sits in the underworld. Remember, Hades is Pluto, and Pluto is Shiva in the Vedic. And it has a contract with Zeus, his brother who lives in the heavens, and Poseidon, who runs the earth and the waters. The numerology of Hades is 33. Must be those sneaky Masons again. Those sneaky Jesuits. No, this was an act of organic code. When I go to Solar Spread 23, why Solar Spread 23? Because the People's Temple was 23 years old, 1955 to 1978, 23 years old. They committed suicide. That's 23. That's just a mere coincidence there. And we go to Solar Spread 23. We locate Jim Jones's birth card. There it is. 6 of diamonds. And what I'm showing you here is the Pluto card. We start here. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. And they're all numbered like a bingo chart. And there is the 8 of hearts sitting in space number 23 to match up with that suicide. Mass suicide, a revolutionary suicide. And his 6 of diamonds sat in space number 15, and the November 18th card, the 2 of clubs, is the 15th card. Remember that in the major arcana, what's the 15th card? The devil. So what is this saying here from the tarot's perspective? Jim Jones fed them the Kool-Aid, fed them, hey, there's no other way out, man. They're going to come get us now because, the senator got killed or something at the airport. And, hey, there's no way that we're going to escape. They're going to come and torture our kids. So we might as well just take ourselves out the way we want to go. Go listen to the death tape. So he fed them this. And what did he feed them? The Pluto energy, which was this. I'm out of here. See you later. Bye. That's what the 8 of Cups is. See you later. Let's leave. Let's all commit suicide and walk away from physicality. And that's what they did. Some by force, but many by willing participation. You see? Because they had their destiny they had to play through. Willing or not, folks. When it's your time to go, it's your time to go. So let's take a look at now. Got a lot going on here. Let me narrate this for you. Solar Spread 23. There's the Pluto card. The People's Church, being 23 years old. Suicide's 23. Then we go to Solar Spread 47 because Jim Jones was 47. And then we look at the Master Spirit spread, which governs all the other spreads, the divine spread. And you can see, look at, here's the card for November 18th, sitting in the spirit side, controlling and narrating this entire event. And here it is, off to the promised land, like we can't stay here. And the Pluto card for the 2 of clubs was the 10 of clubs, leaving behind the struggles of life. We're just going to commit suicide. We're going to leave behind the struggles of life because we have no choice anymore. Jim Jones fed them that information. People believed it. He fed them to go on this suicide, to walk away from physicality. And then Solar Spread 47 to bring it all together. Jim Jones was 47. There's that 6 of spades. And this is transversing away from something. Obviously, what is it transversing into? There it is. Death. Card number 49, card number 60. death. Look at the storyboard here for this. How perfect is this on narrating exactly the way this event went down? The People's Church being 23 years old, 1955 to 1978. Suicide is 23. Look at the narration, the storyboard of this. Mankind could never pull this off, folks. It's too many moving parts. It is too detailed. Too detailed. So let's get into the final segment, the final topic for this presentation. Kool-Aid. So you may have heard, don't drink the Kool-Aid. You drink the Kool-Aid, this is where you get it tied to cults. Well, guess what? Life is a cult. Your life is a cult. You try to get people to join your cult because you think your truth is right, and it is. Everybody's right. Essentially, that's the big joke. Well, when you do some research with this, it wasn't actually Kool-Aid. It was this brand, Flavor Aid. And wouldn't you know it, that you see, these people would have to be in on the conspiracy if you think up to this point that man or woman could actually pull this off. How would you explain this? Because now I'm going to bring in a company that has nothing to do with it. But you see, this was the drink that was chosen to mix the cyanide and the Valium and all the other stuff, the poison that people drank and fed to their kids. And over 900 people passed away on that November 18th day. It was the flavor grape. So this Flavor Aid came out in 1929, right after the Great Depression. Go read about it. The end of that 1929, right before it hit 1930, Flavor Aid, right on their website says it. It came out with this. So I just took the 1929 and subtracted when this event happened, 1978, 49 years. And what's the 49th card in the cosmic playing cards? The 10 of spades. What does that look like in the tarot? This. Done. Death. Death. And this card is right there in the Hades position of Solar Spread 47, and Jim Jones was 47 when he led all those people to their death. How do you tell me that this is not organic? Where do you draw the line on whether it's organic and it's no longer organic? Because this company would have to be in on the conspiracy. And that is absolutely absurd. On top of that, ladies and gentlemen, when you go to Solar Spread 23, People's Temple was 23, Suicide is 23, and you locate the Two of Clubs, which is the card for November 18th, it's sitting in space number 49. And the Master Spirit Spread is that 49th card, the 10 of Spades. Are you seeing this? And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, look at what color. I created these charts years ago. Look at what color I created Neptune. Violet, purple. They drank grape. Are you seeing this? So let's back this up. The massacre happened in 1978. Flavor Aid came out in 1929. They used the grape flavor to use the cyanide and the Valium and everything to kill over 900 people. And it's a 49-year span between the incident and when Flavor Aid came out with their product. And the 49th card is the 10 of Spades, which turns into the 10 of Swords. And the 10 of Swords sits in the Master Spirit side, the divine spread, which is exactly where the Two of Clubs sits, which is the card for November 18th. Come on, folks. And on top of that, look at where Jim Jones' card sits in Solar Spread 47. Same position. Now, If you're wondering where these solar spreads are located, because I know some of you are like, well, how do I know Logan's not trying to get one past me? Well, you can go look for yourself on knowyourdestinycards.com. I don't have these created yet, but you can go to knowyourdestinycards.com. I'll leave this link in the description. And when you go here, you can click on and you can get all the solar spreads. There's 90 of them. So you know I'm not trying to pull the wool over your eyes. Here's solar spread 23. There it is right there, the 2 of clubs in the Neptune line, Poseidon. Remember, they drank liquid. And liquid is water, and water's ruled by Neptune, Poseidon. Poseidon runs the earth, the top of it, the brother of Zeus. Zeus gets the heavens, Poseidon gets the earth, Hades gets the underworld. It's a team effort. And all of these cards, there's November 18th, there's Jim Jones' birth card. Oh, this is solar spread 47. Oh, I know. Oh, you're trying to get one past me. No. Let's go to solar spread 47. So we can be crystal clear. Here's 47. And there's Jim Jones' card right there. 6 of diamonds. Are you seeing this, folks? How can this be possible? Because we live in a scripted reality. That's why. And on top of that, November 18th, 1978 was day number 320 freaking 2. So it must be those skull and bones, those sneaky skull and bones, because skull and bones is 49. This is the 49th card in the deck. It was a 49-year span. Yeah, skull and bones was behind it all. They set all this up, man. They got Flavor Aid to be in on the conspiracy. 10 of spades. There it is, card 49. No, ladies and gentlemen, we live in a scripted reality, because I can tell you it ain't these organizations. They are not in control. They certainly have a hand in doing whatever their role is, just like you and I do, but they are not in control. Let me show you a few more slides. Flavor Aid was grape flavored. That was in the news story. Virgo and grape are both 19. Hades was right there. Death. So the last thing I'm going to show you, folks, before I end this, I want to end it on a positive note, right? Let me show you the yin yang of all this. This is the chart for November 18th, and 2 months prior on the same year was the peace accords. Just so you know, this is the organic code playing out through the good and evil. It's all organic. All of it. Over here, the sun for the peace accords was in Virgo. And this was leadership being focused upon to build practical peace on earth. Virgo, the sun. Over here, it was in Libra, the horse. Remember, the horse is tied to the beast? It was about control through forced harmony in death. The revolutionary suicide. What about the moon position here for the peace accords? You can see the kite there in geometry. What about the moon? The moon was in Pisces. Well, this is about compassion. This is about spiritual empathy. This is about the ability to kind of feel each other's suffering. This is what Jimmy Carter and the Egyptian president, this is what they all came together to do. And there was Nobel Prize winners because of this. Because Pisces is about the church. That's why Jim Jones had all that energy in Pisces when he first started out. Yeah, I mean, he had these interests to save people, but then it turned into something else. Over here, the moon was in Gemini. And Gemini is duality, right? Fragmented emotions, confusion, split thinking, we could even say here. Kind of mirroring the double face of Jones' promise versus reality. He wanted to create the utopia, but then he says there's no way out. Mercury being ruled there, Mercury being in Ophiuchus, the serpent bearer. What about the Mercury over here? What about the way of people were thinking here? Well, Mercury was in Leo. And Mercury being in Leo, you're talking about having bold thinking, having authoritative thinking. authoritative communication. This is about the leaders asserting their pride with words that have meaning and they carry weight. They mean it. Their drive towards peace. Over here, Mercury is an Ophiuchus. Serpentine speech. This is about the words being twisted into poison. The tongue of persuasion, if you will. Venom and medicine was in cyanide and Valium. And Mercury ruling the serpent here. You see. This is how valuable astrology is. What about the Venus position over here? Venus being in the sign of Virgo. Same thing over here. Different outcome. Because over here, the energy was about love through humility and service toward each other. The peace was achieved by negotiations, humble terms. Over here, nah, different. The love turned into conditional servitude. The affection and the loyalty were about obedience. If you go read about how these people were treated in their environment, well, different scenario. You're talking about shadow side Venus. These planets have a yin-yang like we do. Good and evil, folks. The Mars energy over here, Mars in Virgo. Well, here it means detail-oriented action. This is about the drive towards fixing things instead of fighting with things. You literally have the male-female principles here. But over here, Mars was in Scorpio. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. Pluto was right here in the Serpent. So this was about intense control, obsession, destructive passion. And that just ended up in over 900 people losing their lives. I'll do one more. Let's talk about the Saturn. Saturn over here in this chart in Leo. Saturn is Father Time. Saturn is the lawgiver. Saturn is the authority. So you put it in a chart of good, and now you're talking about responsibility being expressed through pride. So Jimmy Carter, the president at the time, he was a dignified leader at this point. But here, where was Saturn? Same place, Leo. We see Jim Jones was leading people with tyranny. The sun can be, the sun being the ruler of Leo, the sun can give you radiation poisoning. Radiation poisoning. Let me do one more because the Pluto energy was a really big one. The Pluto for the peace accords, same sign, Virgo. I have Virgo. I have Pluto in Virgo. But this was transformation through detail because their objective was much different than it was over here. At Camp David, they were transforming war into peace. And they did that through agreements. Over here, same position. But they were transforming the devotion of the followers into the revolutionary suicide. This was about destruction through meticulous control of daily life. This is all part of health and wellness and service. Yeah, well, it was massive control. Pluto on the shadow side, Pluto on the good side. So as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, astrology has a hand in every part of this code, both good and evil. And it is all organic. All of it, the code. It's all played out organically. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Scripted Reality 33 in the books. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you got something out of this. You can tell I have a lot of passion with all this kind of stuff. I stand firm on my final answers. And the final answer is we live through a scripted reality. We live through predestination. And discovering who you are, why you're here, if you're scripted to do that, is one of the most enjoyable things that you can possibly do. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so that's all I got for today. My name is Logan for Decode Your Reality. Until next time, we will see you later.